Boom.
Good evening, everybody. This is Mike Ward, and you have reached the Nurses Station. How's everybody doing tonight? I have my co-host here, Mr. Blake Smith, the AAMN president, and we got some good stuff tonight. What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing great. Hey, I'm excited. This is yet another first for our Be Live adventure. We have 3 people in our green room. Normally, we only have 1 guest per show. And they're usually out of the green room when we start with, where we're sitting on the broadcast. So to kind of see the chain of events and bringing in people one at a time, this is going to be kind of cool to see how this plays out tonight. And of course, the lineup, as always, is just absolutely amazing. So I'm hoping everybody sees the value tonight and gets to know a few more individuals that are up for election. And we're going to have some fun. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be an hour and a half. This is going to be a marathon tonight. So if you can't join us for the whole time, it's all right. It's recorded. So you can listen to everybody. How you doing, Mike? Oh, we lost Mike. We'll wait till he jumps in here real quick. We're kind of slowing down a little bit. He kind of he froze up, so he'll be back in here in just a second. I'm going to bring him right back in right now. Here he comes. There he's at.
Yeah, there we go. So, this is going to be a little crazy. Again, this is the first time we've done this. We got tons of people who are on the broadcast tonight. So, it's going to be great. Either way, if I'm not on here, you don't see me, it's still going to be great, everybody.
Yep. so
we got some great guests. So let me go through the lineup. Let's go through the lineup real quick.
Okay.
All right. First, we have the nurse doc. Oh my gosh, this is going to be great to have him on here again. Everybody knows this gentleman. Super sharp, super great guy. He's going to be on first. All right, and then we're going to have. Let's see. It's going to be Dr. Stephanie. Does Dr. Stephanie use her hyphen whenever it's Gedzyk-Nieman, or is it just Dr. Stephanie Nieman?
We're going to have to ask her. That's how we get to know her.
We'll have to ask her. Yeah.
Right? That's the whole point of this.
She is coming on. She is a powerhouse. I cannot wait to talk to her and introduce you to her. This is going to be great. And then we have Thomas Rossini. This guy is another heavy hitter. And so it's just so cool to have these 3 people on the show at the same time. Huge value, man. Yeah. Huge.
I'm going to be tired after this one, Mike. I'm going to tell you. I was telling you that earlier.
We just got to pace ourselves.
We're going to sleep all tonight.
We got to pace ourselves.
Yeah. So let's get this moving. You want to
get it rocking, man?
Let's introduce Wes and let's get moving.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this is hang on a second. I don't want to mess it up. I want to make sure that I get everything good here at a good bio. All right. So
did you write it on a napkin?
I wrote on my hand. I got it right here. No, so you guys, most of you, if you went to conference last year, you definitely should know the nurse doc, Dr. Wesley Willis. He's a registered nurse and a licensed psychologist, and he actually he has a practice. He is all over the world, like all the time, but just a long-term member of AAMN. So really, really excited to have him. Let me go ahead. I just want to read a little bit of his credentials. All right. My gosh, where do I start? This is oh man. You know what? This is really, really long. It's actually a biographical sketch. It's just unbelievable. This guy has just been going strong. Obviously, in New York State Society for Clinical Social Workers, Sigma Theta Tau International, co-founder of the CUNY New York City AAMN chapter in 2012, AAMN Communication Committee member right now, and he has been on the Good Morning America. Is it the Today Show or Good Morning? The Today Show.
Good Morning America.
Good Morning America.
With Trahan.
Yeah, this guy is just amazing individual. Amazing individual, and I'm glad I have the privilege and honor to call him my friend. So, let's bring him on, Dr. Wesley Willis, the nurse doc.
All right, here he comes. Hey, Wes, how's it going?
Hey, guys, it's going great. Thank you.
There he is.
Thank you for having me on tonight.
Absolutely.
The man. Yes, sir. Thank you for making the time. I know you just got back from, a business trip. I don't know. Do you claim all your trips to be business trips? I mean, you could.
According to the IRS, yes, it's always business.
A business trip.
It's always business. No, man, that's great. So we're glad that we had time to get you on tonight, and you had time. We're really, really excited to have people get to know you a little better. We in the past, this is what it's been like. You get an email. It says, we have board elections. Here's all the names of the people. Go ahead and cast your vote. And people are like, well, I don't even know who these people are,
Yeah.
So so Blake and I were like, we should give everybody a platform who would like it, so that people can get to know who they are and what it is that they would like to do once they get onto the board. So tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, you did a great job introducing me, talking about kind of the things that I found really interesting over the course of my career, and the unfortunately, and I guess fortunate at the same time, long winding path of education. So not only am I an associate degree nurse, but I'm a bachelor's nurse, and have an MSW, and I have a doctorate in psychology, which was kind of like almost, I thought at one point, like gonna be the pinnacle, like my hat. But then I kind of like this whole new millennium exploded in live streaming and all of the other stuff. And I got into broadcasting and media, and I just been having a great time with life and utilizing nursing as part of like my passion and my role to kind of like bring it out to the masses. Because, hey, I mean, we've gone from what I feel like over the almost 17-year history of being a nurse, from like 2-point-something million nurses to now 4 million nurses. I mean, it's amazing. The profession that we've become a part of has grown into such a wonderful thing to be a part of.
I
Exactly.
agree,
and I mean, we joke, Mike and I joke about it, but I mean, this man has a drone, and he shoots drone footage, like, and for the caliber of the competency and the work that you do and all that stuff, but then also the mission and the vision that you put behind the media. It's not just that you're in broadcasting, it's what you're trying to get out there, what you're trying to do, and being a part of AMN and bringing awareness to mental health, but also even how it aligns with men and being engaged in their mental health and well-being, as well as just their health in general. And the topics that you cover on, in relationship-based type things have just, strike me as something that has driven a passion to me to more to think about mental health. So, I think it's where we need to go, and it really aligns where we've wanted to go. So that's what's really been cool with the collaboration over this last year. Because as we talked about, if you know the conference, if you saw the broadcast, you saw those things, this was the man behind the scenes. And you saw him in front of the camera too. But
I felt like I was in front of the camera.
Yeah. But I say that because he made sure that all of it happened, the connection through the Facebook, how we were able to simulcast on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. We had to flip to a phone somehow to broadcast because the regular camera wasn't working. I mean, it was crazy, but we got it done, and it was a really cool first test run. So I wanted to kind of go from your past and what I spoke in now, kind of where do you see us going now? What do you think from your expertise and what you could draw based off of your experience in AMN as a communications committee member, specifically first, and then we'll talk more broad range of where you see this platform going and how we communicate with our members and bring more awareness to men's health issues and also male caregiving roles in the United States.
Yeah, so being a member of the communications committee and working in that role, kind of like from the last conference and kind of making that be a reality, is kind of always where I've seen like nursing organizations and any association, period, if they're going to remain valid and they're going to remain relevant to current day, then it's going to have to be able to reach the people who are the members. So that's kind of like what I brought into the communications committee. So this kind of like live streaming, social media, and it didn't just happen yesterday. It's been happening. And I think that one of the things that as nurses, we've always sought to kind of remain kind of modest. And in some ways, some people may view our need to get out there and reach members to be kind of boastful, right? So I kind of view like this role in a way of what we used to do back in the day: send out newsletters, send out emails. But this is a newsletter on a bigger range. We are reaching people in China. We're reaching nursing students in Korea. And that's what I think that this organization needs to do. And that's kind of like what I feel like I bring.
Absolutely. Well spoken.
I love it. That's true, man. To remain relevant, man, you got to meet people where they're at. You got to meet them where they're at.
Right.
And, most people aren't in their emails very much.
No.
You want to see my notification?
Emails later.
You see that? That's it. 16,077 emails that I have yet to check. Okay. So, people.
No wonder you didn't reply to me today.
Did you email me? Oh, my. Let me check.
No.
Let me check. So how did you become involved in AAMN in the first place? Because you started the first chapter in New York, right, in 2012.
Yes, yeah. Actually,
so how'd you get involved?
The dean, the chair of the School of Nursing, Dr. C. Alicia Georges, told me about AAMN. At the time, it was an assembly while I was studying for my BSN. And she paid for me to go to AAMN's conference. I think at the time it was at Duke University. I think so. So I was in the ADN to BSN program. So I was like, wow, this must be something serious. If she says I'm taking money out of my budget to pay for your travel, to pay for you to go see what this organization is about. So, I mean, I got there and I saw all these amazing things going on. And that's kind of how I got involved. So I took it back to the School of Nursing. And at the time, I think we had maybe around about 15 guys in the nursing program in general. So from the accelerated program to the generic program, the ADN to BSN program, we didn't have a lot of men involved. We had actually probably 5 male staff members at the time. And so that's kind of how I got involved. I had the conversation with Dr. Scott Sakamano and was like, hey, I went to this AAMN thing. And he's like, I've been a member of AAMN for years. And so he was like, I was like, well, can we start it here? Can we do something like that? And he was like, oh, I've just been waiting for it. So we set out on a journey to try to and brought a chapter to Lehman College. So we really gave it a go. Schedules were different then, and so it really didn't pan out to the amazing chapter that we have right now in New York City. But hey, we gave it a go. So that was my first initial stages in AAMN.
That's great. And,
That's awesome,
what I always find is a common theme of those who kind of are rising through the ranks and stay is it's that support and out of those chapters that have that structure in place and just kind of that inspiration from someone, as you talked about, Dr. Alicia Georges, who, by the way, is now the volunteer president of AARP, of all people, and spoke at our conference this last year. She inspired you, and commonly I was inspired by someone. So was Mike, and that puts us on a sustainable path of leadership within this organization. And so I think really the membership and how we've expanded our support to all of our chapters will hopefully heighten that in regard to having those opportunities for more people to be inspired and to be on the board one day and be right here where we're talking now. And so let's talk a little more broadly, because you have a pretty big background in association work, not just in AAMN. And I know we spoke previously that, you were involved in ANA in the leadership area for a while, and then also have done some other nonprofit work in the state level and such. What experiences that you kind of found in regard to operationalizing a nonprofit such as our association, and more from a business angle, and for our sustainability and growth for the 21st century. What lessons have you learned in the past, and where do you think we should be kind of going further for revenue opportunities, those types of things, so that we can be sustainable?
Yeah, and you're incredibly right, Blake. I was really fortunate several years ago to be one of the charter members for the ANA New York chapter, and come across Karen Ballard, who was a phenomenal nurse. She is still a phenomenal nurse, and she brought me on in the role of a program associate. And then during that time of the course of almost 2 years, I got to become involved in ANA on a national level, and having conversations about kind of like that age-old story, like how do we bring in more members? How do we retain members? How do we increase and engage millennials? How do we increase and engage the next generation of people who are going to lead this? Because I just celebrated my 40th birthday, and I don't want to be 75 like my great mentor, Karen Ballard, 75, leading an organization, right? So how do we get that and keep those 30-year-olds coming through the door with all of that great energy that they have? And like I said earlier, with social media and this ability to have this platform, like so Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and while it looks like on the surface, like, oh, it's just people with cameras and cell phones creating content for like something that's a fad, it goes even further. So like I branched out for my own private practice into teletherapy. And from that started creating things like online courses, online videos that is consumed, because at the same time, I mean, members want the opportunity to get those resources from within the organization. I know it's nice to go to YouTube and look at different things like the other people who's our guy, the nurse, the cardiac nurse, and those other individuals. But why not have that in-house, right? So by creating our own videos, our own training stuff. Also in the course of kind of like what I've learned is how, we can go about creating and providing CEUs. So from being a member and also a leader in the New York State Society for Clinical Social Work, also working with American Nurses Association, how to make that content relatable, how to make it useful, how to make it also in a way that teaches the people who want these resources. I think one of the bigger things, because I still remain at the bedside, because I still think it's so incredibly important for young nurses to see experienced nurses who have advanced degrees at the bedside, kind of saying, hey, being a bedside nurse isn't the worst thing in the world. And you can lead from here, and you can still be so incredibly important in the profession. So yes, I think those new nurses, they want the content, they want the things that make them take them from novice to expert, or that inspire them to kind of say, this field is so much broader. I mean, I never would have thought that, if somebody told me at the outset of my nursing career that I would also be a psychologist and also able to see the value in it, because I didn't see anybody doing anything like this. So to now, for us to take this stuff, all of the stuff that we do, like you do IT and you do the work with like liaison between nurses and doctors. So while that new nurse may say, you know what, the bedside isn't for me, they don't have to leave the profession. They don't have to go do something different. They can remain, bring their skills, bring what they're passionate about, and still remain a nurse. Absolutely.
And like with those, like YouTube, we were just talking about earlier, those are revenue opportunities. So that's what we always try to diversify our revenue streams. That's one area that I think associations are not in, and it's a marketable area. We just need to know how to do it and why are we doing it. We need to reflect and know why we are doing it, so we can do it differently than just, like you said, we're not just making videos to make videos. We're trying to put out content for awareness and value, not only to our members, but to the public. And that's how our organization gets more awareness and more visibility through free vehicles or very minimal investments in these social media platforms to get a big bang for your buck. And you get paychecks.
Right.
That come from it.
And it's funny. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because people are like, oh, well, we have to have these media houses. And back in the day, that may be real, right? We had to get media houses and studios, and we had to hire all these people. So it was an incredible investment financially. But I mean, just this past conference, we reached thousands of people basically with a cell phone and a computer.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it.
That's true.
It was on an iPad, 2 microphones, and a tripod.
Exactly.
Like it wasn't a big setup.
So it looked good though.
Yeah,
it looked good.
It looked great.
So listen, we I hate to say it, we got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you coming on, man, and I'm really excited that that you are, that you're going forward. This, and who knows what's going to happen, but I'm just so privileged, man. I feel so honored, so privileged just to have you, working with me side by side. I really appreciate it. And we're not allowed to, say any more than that, but good luck. And
thank you guys.
We'll touch base soon.
All right.
All
Thanks.
right.
We're going to bring you back into the green room. Have a great night.
Hey,
Thanks.
and Wes, are you going to be able to hang out? Are you going to be
Yeah.
able to hang around and answer any questions that somebody might have? If you don't mind, just look through the
Most
Facebook
definitely.
And answer via comments. That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
Will do.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Wow, that's great, man. That was great. That was a great first interview.
Absolutely.
Great first interview, and we didn't have too many technical difficulties either.
Not too many. We're a little slow from here and there, but you know what? I'm pretty happy so far of what we got going on here. So who do we got next?
Yeah, I am too. So if you have any questions or anything, please feel free. Just jump in there, ask questions. I believe that we actually had a question. Dr. David, for scheduling events for new chapters. Scheduling has been a challenge for us. Wes, if you have any answers to that, that'd be awesome.
Or other two candidates that are in the green room and are on. Please, any help that you can provide. And of course, Mike and I'll come and talk to you again, Dr. Foley. We always enjoy talking with you. We're here to help you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they just want to hear from the, from those that were, the candidates. So the next one, let's go ahead. Let's keep on rolling, man. Let's roll. Dr. Stephanie Gedzyk-Nieman. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me for that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Dr. Stephanie, please don't get
butcher that anymore.
Don't yell at me on air. Wait till we get off the air to yell at me, okay? Dr. Stephanie Gedzyk-Nieman has been a nurse educator for 15 years and an AAMN member since 2015. She currently is an associate professor of nursing at Lewis University, just outside Chicago. She is certified maternal newborn nurse, and through her role as a maternal newborn nurse educator, Dr. Gedzyk-Nieman observed the struggles of her male students, which led her to further explore their experiences for her DNP research work. This work has been presented at both national and international conferences and published in peer-reviewed journals. I told you guys she is a heavy hitter, so it's great to have her on the show. I'm so glad that she was able to make it. Let's bring her on, man.
All right.
Hi
there.
Hello.
Is it working?
It's working.
Hooray! Wonderful. Well, thank you for having me. And please don't feel bad about my name, as I tell my students all of the time. Dr. Steph is just fine. It is absolutely okay. But if you want to know how to pronounce it, so it's Gedzyk. So I think like get sick.
Okay.
Perfect for a nurse.
It's
the opposite of Neiman Marcus, so it's Nieman. So if I was a Neiman Marcus relative, my life would look totally different than what it does right now. Nieman. But Dr. Stephanie is just fine. Please, no worries. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Well, Thank you so much for making the time tonight. I know you probably have a very busy schedule, and it's like prime time during the middle of the week, right? It's 7:30 here where I'm at in Dallas.
Yeah.
And most people are eating dinner, getting their kids ready for bed and stuff like that. I know that's if I'm not doing it, my wife's doing it, and so we appreciate it.
No problem.
I don't know if you have any kids or anything.
I do. I have two children. I have a son who's going to be a freshman in high school, which is impossible. I'm 22.
That's
what I was thinking. I'm like,
totally impossible. And my daughter is going to be in 5th grade, and they both play rugby. They're at rugby practice. That was going and then not happening, and then it happened. But it takes a village, and my village stepped up to the plate, so I could be here this evening. So I appreciate that. Absolutely.
Yes.
I'm sure you get to be a nurse at home quite a bit with rugby.
I do. Oh, for many children, many a child. Yes, not just my own. Yes, absolutely. As we all are, as we all do. Absolutely, as being part of the profession, it's universsul.
That's true. Yeah. Although I don't ever take mine to the hospital. I think they have to have blood.
Rub some dirt on it. We're good.
The ears.
You're fine. You're fine.
Shake it off. Shake it off. But
absolutely.
I know you're 8 months old. Shake it off.
You're
Shake
okay.
So thank you so much for being here. Yeah. And I'm ready to dive in. I am really excited. We have, our board has a lot of men, right? And we do have the pleasure of having Dr. Bonnie Schmidt on our board. And she is so amazing and such a nice breath of fresh air. Oh my God. So I'm glad that you are up for election. I think that's great. How did you get involved in AAMN? I'm so fascinated. Not because you are a woman and this is a men's club, because it's not even the least. It's not. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think, close to 40%, I believe, 40% of our, but how did you come across the AAMN in the first place?
So, as I said in, a little bit in my bio, I've been an, educator. I teach in a BSN and an accelerated BSN program. And I still teach clinical, and I'm passionate about that. And I, had heard my male students, talking about maybe some negative experiences they had with other, not just, not an OB rotation per se, but other rotations or faculty or other nurses. And I just kind of came impassioned about that. And I said, well, why is that? Why is this a problem? Why is it still a problem? I mean, come on. And so I just kind of started looking into it a little bit more. And really, I think I just came across your website, was looking up men in nursing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know this existed. This is so awesome.
Very common response.
So I went to your conference in 2015. And that was the first time. And I went all by myself. It was in Minneapolis. And so it was wonderful for two things. I think it gave me a little sense of what it might feel like to be in other people's shoes, because most of the conference was men, right, at the conference, and not as many women was there, and it felt different. And I thought, this is awesome. You need to feel this. That's a great thing to remember, right? Walking forward, walking in those shoes a little bit. But the other takeaway was, what a great conference, and people were wonderful and awesome and genuine, and I had wonderful conversation, and I came back energized, and I was like, this is what I'm working on for my DNP. There's no turning back. This is it. I'm done. They said, pick something you're passionate about. Nailed it. This is it. There's done. So that led to my DNP work and evolving in that a little bit more, and finishing that. And I graduated in August of 2017. So feels like just a smooch ago, still getting over that whole thing.
Yeah.
But it's led to so many other opportunities. So I was able to present my work for my DNP at Sigma in Australia this summer. And I was one of the third finalists for one of their research awards there. So that was amazing. And through that, one of my co-presenters in my breakout session were some faculty from Doosan. And we've just kind of become attached at the hip, because then we saw each other again at AAMN in Milwaukee, and we kept talking via email. And then lo and behold, they were wonderful enough to invite me to cover clinical gender incivility for a workshop they just presented to their nursing faculty. So I was there in April as part of their initiative. And we've decided, it's part of our circus, and we're going to keep the circus rolling. We love it. And I'm just so honored. But that's the crazy thing, how Dr. Wesley, was just talking about how things evolve and you don't know where they're going to head. This is one of those things that just keeps moving forward. And I've felt like it's a calling, and I don't know how else to explain that. And that might sound really cliche. I feel it. I really, really feel it. And what better way for me to continue that champion work, but then to try to partner or serve with an organization whose mission is to champion diversity in nursing.
Absolutely. And I find
fantastic.
It's so unique. And, I think, you're talking about male students in general, but Mike and I can probably tell you stories from, OB and change, because I thoroughly enjoyed my OB rotation. And when people stated, and I saw it, I saw it with some of my classmates. We were in an accelerated program, lost about 5 years off my life, but I'm slowly gathering them back. What I told them and what I realized, and I wish I would have kind of been able to share this with them, and this was just trial by fire, and I happened to make it stick. I haven't had the right couples, mothers, and the fathers. And what I did is, when I went into the room, I obviously, front and center, it's about taking care of the mom. But by helping her kind of feel comfortable with me being in the room, I really moved through the father. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the fathers, they were, especially the first time fathers, they won't tell you, but they're scared to death. I was, and I was a nurse. Yeah. And at the time, and by, getting them involved and helping out, understanding, and by the time of it, I was so gracious enough to be able to be a part of 5 different births.
Wow.
And it was really about, and every one of them, I got that father to cut that cord, because I told him, you're going to regret it if you don't do it.
Yep.
Yeah, and they just loved it. And many times, then when I went to the mother baby rotation the next week, I saw them up there, or I think it was just a few days, because they didn't even stay there that long.
Sure.
And then they saw us there, and I got to take care of them, and taking care of the little baby and everything. It's so cool to see that area of nursing, and there are barriers, and trying to trailblaze what you've done and focused on, and coming from that area to try to help those experiences. Obviously, it's all about the patient's preference. Mm-hmm. I think that we should never encroach on what the patient's preference is. But I think, providing them the opportunity of what that feeling or what that environment looks like in the future, that men can serve in those roles if you feel comfortable, and making it more comfortable because it becomes more mainstream, that provides more opportunities. So I didn't know what your thoughts were on that in that regard.
I agree 1,000%. And I think it's all, again, how you present it and how you present yourself, and how really those nurses that are working with the students, how they are presenting it too. This just happened a couple weeks ago. So there's a nurse on the unit. I've been on this unit forever and ever and ever. And she's one of my go-to preceptors, right? Like, she always is pro student and gets them in there no matter, whatever. And I had put her with one of my male students that day. And about midway through the day, she had said, I feel really bad because most of my patients, this was on mother baby, she said, most of the patients have kind of been not wanting him in the room. And I thought, that's weird. Like, what are the odds that this entire, assignment is kind of having that trepidation, right? Mm-hmm. And so afterwards, I kind of stayed back and I talked to her and I said, can I just ask you a question? She said, sure. And I said, did you ask the patients if he could come in the room? And she said, yes. And I said, now, do you do that with your other students? And she said, oh, well, now that you said it, I guess I really don't. And I said, okay, so here's the thing. And then she was kind of like taken aback. I said, listen, no judgment, but here's what happens. Something to think about. I said, if you just walk in and you say, this is so-and-so my student for today, right? You're presenting it very professionally. They can always refuse and say, I'm not really interested in a student. They don't have to say anything about gender, just say a student in general. And then that's fine, right? I said, did you ask if they wanted a student? And she said, yes. I said, and did you say, and the student happens to be a man? And she said, I did. And I said, so now we've planted a seed, whether you intend, and a lot of times I found you don't know what you don't know, right? And it usually comes from things of, and right away she said, well, I just want to protect I want the patient to feel comfortable. I don't want them to feel, and I want the student to have a great experience, and I don't want them to be uncomfortable. Exactly. And I said, perfect, me too. We're all on the same page. But now we've planted a seed, right? And the seed is now the patient might think, well, I wasn't worried before, but maybe I should be. And the student who maybe has never had a second thought about any of the nursing care they've ever provided is now maybe thinking, oh my gosh, is someone really thinking that I'm inappropriate or that I might do something inappropriate? And I've never thought about my care in that manner before. So we've planted these two kind of seeds that came from the intent of goodness, really, right? To be protective.
Exactly.
And once I said that to her, it was amazing. This light, you could see this light bulb, and she was like, you are totally right. And I never thought about it like that. And then she was profusely apologizing. And I said, it's okay. Like, we're just having a conversation. Exactly. And I actually put the student back with her the next time. And, him and I touched base later on in the day, and I didn't have a chance to talk to him that day, but I said, first of all, how is your day going today? Great. He was telling me all of his experience. And then I said, how did it compare to last time? And he said, oh, nurse so-and-so, she's always been great, but today has just been a better day. And I said, I'm so glad to hear that. And I said, now I want to circle back with you about something. And I told him, I said, why I thought this was a little peculiar in our conversation. And he was like, wow, thanks for telling me that. He's like, that's really, wow, I'm surprised you took the time, to do that. But that's my job. Not only is it my job as your educator, but it's my job as a nurse in this profession who wants to enhance diversity. It just makes sense.
Exactly.
We all have to do that.
Well said. I love it.
Done.
Love it.
I'm blown away right now because where were you like 12 years ago? I mean, that's pretty much how every clinical day went for me whenever I was in maternal child. Yeah. And, it is what it is. But that's just fantastic. You're an advocate. You are a staunch advocate for men in nursing. That is no doubt. And we really appreciate that.
Thank you.
So if you don't mind, what do you want to, is there anything that you'd like to accomplish being on the board? Is there anything like, man, I could really dig my heels in and do this if I could get to this level?
Well, I think that's a great question. So I was, thinking about that and, looking at the website and revisiting your mission. And, your mission really speaks to, 4 things of practice, leadership, education, and research. And I guess I'm taking that from the perspective of an educator. I'm with students all the time. And like you said, that's kind of, I think, who we really need to tap into to kind of grow the organization even more. So I kept thinking what as a student or what would be kind of beneficial to all parties if you're looking at that. So in regards to like practice and leadership, in light of, recent card playing comments that were made.
Hey, Mike is a really good card trick player.
Yes. Exactly. I was listening to you guys on Facebook on that night, and I said, if nursing is not at the table, if we're not at the table, we're on the menu. And I think that
was that you that said that?
That was me.
Yeah.
I did not coin the phrase. One of my doctoral professors said it, and I've loved it ever since. Yes.
Oh my gosh, I heard that.
Yes.
Genius. Absolutely.
And so in light of that, I thought, well, how can we be at the table? And, obviously this woman who made that comment did so because, again, you don't know what you don't know, right? So we have to get out there and educate people. So, making some sort of initiative of having AAMN members reach out, having a goal of X amount of members reaching out to X amount of legislators just to introduce yourself. I had to do that in my doctoral program. And at first I thought it was kind of silly and I was really uncomfortable. But just throwing yourself out there and letting them know I'm your constituent, I'm a nurse, I have this kind of experience. If there's a healthcare bill or a nursing bill or anything with healthcare that's coming across your desk that you want some information about or an opinion about, I'm happy to talk about it. And I did that, and she's called me twice now. Just to have it. So it's amazing when they don't know what kind of resource. Again, you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. I didn't know I had this resource at my fingertips. So something along those lines. And then again, education and research, looking at, money is money and we all like it and it'd be nice to have more of it. But is there, besides scholarships, can we fund grants for research in this area, whether it be men's health or, inclusivity in nursing education, or for schools that want to provide more education to their faculty or put on a program for their students that might enhance diversity, have great ideas, but just don't have any funds. And sometimes it's just as much as paying for a statistician, which might be $500, right? Yeah. Having that opportunity to be able to do that, I think is really important. And then for our students, we have at Lewis, a really nice mentor program. I think as a new grad, how great would it be if this is part of your organization to be able to tap into a formalized mentor program here through AAMN to help them on their career trajectory from that point forward.
Excellent. Yeah, those are all very, very valid points. And a mentorship program is actually it is a great idea. I want to, I think I've heard somebody toss that idea around. I think it's a great idea. And I don't know of any other organization that's doing that. So
yeah, and I think there's mentor programs out there, but I mean, we could tailor it to be unique to
right.
our
demographic, right? Yeah,
because I mean, a mentor program is just not a mentor program. I mean, you have to find specific outcomes. What are you trying to go through?
Right.
I mean, how diverse can you be for the potential individual? Is it just I can go on and on.
Right.
And I think I think it's kind of the next step. I mean, we're building a structure and a foundation right now that built for the 21st century, and we're starting to see it take off.
Right.
And then you go from there with our demographic. The majority of our demographic as men, we're anywhere from 22 to 37. That is the bulk of the individuals in our demographic as males. And so what we do is we draw off that, like you said, we tap into students, not because that should be the only demographic we look after or have benefit for. We want benefit for all of our generations. They're all equally important. But I think for the future of the organization is tapping into those that have been in the association in our profession for so long and getting them engaged to come to the table to help pay it forward, and then really invest in that student population in regards to then converting them to great clinical practice and competent individuals with the capacity to pay it forward. And that's all they know, is that they were helped to pay it forward. And that's what you believe in your entire profession. So they stay engaged and they want to do it for the next generation. That would be absolutely amazing.
It would be. And then, again, I came across you guys, Google. I don't even know if it was Google then, but through a search engine. But, if, with the board and the diversity, I think that, will be on the board and continues to be on the board location-wise. Has AAMN ever considered having a dual membership with other professional organizations, or even just being at their conferences and having a table to say, here we are, we're AAMN. Like, have you heard of us? Do you want to be a part of us? This is what we're all about. And, being with the people, because I bet you most would be like, I didn't even know you were there. I didn't even know you existed. And between, people's location in the country, maybe that's something that we can think about. Just a thought.
Yeah, and I think, we've done so many great things in this past 41, 41, 42, over going on 43 years, I think, and more. And I think it's just been, it was a great concentration. We were doing great work and everything, but there was that ceiling. And for whatever reason, we tried so many things, and some things have worked, some things haven't, to grow. And we've kind of gone through this up and down. But I think with this new technology and everything, we're finding this new awareness that we have this platform to get out. And then if we can get in front of people, because even though I'm a millennial and I love Zoom, person to person is still the best thing. To read nonverbals, make that connection. That's what our conference is all about.
Right. And absolutely.
And it's a small, intimate conference compared to 30,000 people. You're just kind of, starstruck of everywhere you go. It's very intimate, and you get to meet these incredible individuals, because it's the creme de la creme that come to our conference, but such a small conference that you get to actually meet and talk with them.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Just walking around like, whoa,
what is going on?
Look out! Can you sign my?
Yeah.
It's true. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And so when you talked about grant,
hey, we have some comments.
Oh, do you have? Oh, awesome. What do we got?
Yeah, we have some comments and some questions. Dr. Jason Mott he says, what kind of skill set will you bring in the secretary role in terms of conference planning?
Yeah.
I don't seem to encounter this. It's an expectation that they will see their patients. Gender identity in nursing continues to become even more complex now.
Yeah, Mike, I think you were breaking up a little bit.
Yeah.
Stephanie, did you hear that question?
I just heard bits and pieces. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so let's start, because there's a few questions here.
Sure.
And so let's start with because you're running for secretary, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, with that role, and I'm sure you know about the role, but just to clarify for the membership as well, is that, the secretary role is in charge of the conference planning committee / education committee. We kind of see it one and the same. But the majority is doing the education around the conference, but also throughout the year, kind of helping facilitate, initiatives. And so conference planning is a huge deal. It's a year-long, 2-year process many times to put on a conference. And so can you kind of expand on, kind of your experience in that area, but also Jason is saying, what out of that skill set brings to that you can bring to the secretary role to make sure that that our conference planning continues to grow and our conferences continue to be a success?
Well, that's a great question. So I would never planned a national conference. I will be totally honest. However, I've been on several committees at my university. I've been on our Sigma committee, on the general council there as well, on their executive committee. And, even in locally, I've ran our PTA. So I've done the gamut. And if you can, I'm sorry, if you can handle PTA, you can handle a lot of stuff. Exactly. There's a lot of personalities there. So that being said, so granted, do I have national exposure and national experience? No. But I hope you can tell by my conversation, I am energized. I am enthusiastic. I'm extremely organized. I am a type A++ personality. I am able to multitask like a champ. All nurses can, but I think all nurses that are parents and work full time and do all other stuff can do that as well. And I can speak to that. And I'm extremely dependable, and I think I'm very approachable. And I would be learning in the role, but I think I would also bring, all of those other various skill sets to the table as well. Awesome.
I appreciate that. And Jason is the outgoing secretary. So, there's a huge onboarding process that's going to happen over the summer, which is the first time that we've ever, I can't say that. I can't speak to that. First time since I've been in, which has only been 5 years. I can't speak to 41 years because I'm not even that old. Then do you want to talk about the Dr. Foley asked a question, Mike?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yes. I can hear you now. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh, I think you lost us. You want to go out and come back in, and I'll continue until you come back in if you can hear me. So Dr. Foley wanted to expand on the OB rotation. We talked about, males being in kind of, out of their, I wouldn't say out of their element, that's wrong. But, it's an area that's difficult for male nurses still to this day. And he goes, we're even becoming more complex now that we're not just dealing with males in, more of a female traditional area of caregiving, but also we're going to more complex transgender area to make it more complex of how to take care of these patients. And as we think about an inclusive environment for our patients, where do you see some opportunities that might be useful in mitigating gender bias in nursing with that in mind, that maybe expand on some of the research that you've done so far?
So I hope I'm answering his question.
Yeah. I hope I summarized it okay. That's what because it's a really good question, but I hope
it's a great question. So I think that is, the next horizon actually is transgender LGBTQ, their healthcare needs and their sense of inclusivity. And I think that's something that AAMN could actually champion. I don't really see that being championed by any other, professional nursing organizations. I think people are starting to talk about it. But I think a lot of the concepts of inclusivity aren't exclusive to gender, right? It's going to be sexual orientation, going to be whatever. So the same kind of concepts of how to make someone feel inclusive by asking, what pronoun do they prefer to, it's no different than asking the patient, what name do you like to be called, right? So just
preferred name. And we're doing that in our EHR system right now.
Right.
We had a huge thing that we've done, and it's gone really well, but it's very, very complicated.
Right.
Incredibly complicated.
Right, exactly. And we've even started at Lewis seeing, and other certain nursing schools, have been talking about it. We've had students that have transitioned throughout their nursing school experience, have started as one gender and finished the program as another. And, how do you support that as faculty, right? How do you make sure that, their needs are being met and that, you're calling them by the correct name and, not treating, and helping their classmates with the transition for that student as well. So I think a lot of the concepts are the same, actually, I guess is my summary statement. Mm-hmm. And AAMN could be on the forefront of that.
Well, and I think AAMN is in a unique position because we don't only represent men. We represent the ethnic minorities, and that I'm so, gracious and proud to serve and lead of all my colleagues that are from ethnic minorities. And I try to instill and be an ally, a genuine ally, because I truly believe in inclusion. When I go around the country talking about diversity, inclusion, and equity, and here I'm a white male sitting up, right, standing in front of the room and talking. But you know about diversity, inclusion, and equity,
right.
And many times, the first thing out of my mouth is like, "You're right. I'm a white dude up here talking about diversity." But I always approach it as I'm an ally here. I mean, mm-hmm. If we want to be inclusive, that is when everyone is at the table. Mm-hmm. And so I play a role in that, and I'm going to do whatever I can to support my colleagues to fulfill their potential and have the same opportunities that I have. Mm-hmm. Even though I'm technically a minority in this profession, there shouldn't be any different. And I'm going to push it for that even outside of nursing. We all should, and come from that area. And I think maybe AAMN holds that same kind of maybe area for transgender, that of our members that we represent, and also how we can support them and being advocates in that role. And who would think that a male professional nursing organization would be the first to the table to champion that. I think that's right. Something we can be very proud of, and we should be proud of, and be genuine in our support.
Absolutely. Again, you don't know what you don't know, so why not get on board, right, and figure it out and get the word out.
Mike, you want to go last? I think we're about ready to wrap up. I love these conversations. I wish we could go on all day with these things.
I know. They're awesome. You guys are doing a great job. This is a lot. I've been impressed with your technology. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Well,
Last round there.
Well, we really appreciate you making the time. Like I said in the beginning, thank you so much. It is a pleasure, and would be a pleasure to work with you. So
thank you.
We look forward to just any collaboration at all,
yes,
within the future. I'm really excited about what you have going on. If you don't mind, if you could hang around and answer any questions that somebody might pose toward you in the comments, that'd be awesome.
I will. Thank you so much.
All right.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Man.
2 down, 1 to go.
2 down, 1 to go. That was really good. I missed the last part of it, man. I don't know this. Hey, technical difficulties, man. They're gonna come up.
Yep. Live television.
That's right. You got to make lemonade. So next up, we have Thomas Rossini, and I have his bio right here. Let me just read this off. Tom is married. He's got 2 daughters. And by the way, last year, Tom was at the conference, and he actually did a talk on human trafficking. And he brought his daughter, who is an opera singer. and she sang it was amazing. It was amazing. I felt like a celebrity, man, like a VIP in the, we're getting this dinner and we have like just a couple rows ahead of us. We have this professional opera singer. It was pretty amazing.
And I think Tom even saying at the end. Tom even said,
"Yeah, that's true. That's true. You might have to. I suppressed that. That part.
Put that on his skill set."
I'll add that. He's been a nurse since the 90s. He's worked in long-term care, subacute hospice, emergency room, transplant. Now for the last 13 years, he's been working for United Health Group as a senior clinical auditor. He's been in AAMN since 2009, and he's celebrating 10 years of being a member. He's also been on the educational committee for AAMN for the last 2 years, on the awards committee, and started up a corporate chapter called UHG-AAMN. And he's doing just some big things, man. He's got a lot of good stuff in the works, man. I mean, he and I talk, and he keeps me abreast of some of the big things he's got going on, man. And it's pretty impressive. I clown around with Tom sometimes, and he is just a great guy to hang out with. But he is really, really on the professional level. He's got it going on real strong. Yeah, so I'm really excited.
Driven and he's pioneered. Like, we've never done something outside of a health system or a school, to my knowledge, and to pioneer into starting a chapter that's nationwide of an insurance company that employs nurses, a large amount of nurses, and
lots of nurses. Lots of nurses.
To have a chapter was really cool to do, and we continue to talk and expand, and I'm going to bring him on because we'll probably talk about some of those cool, innovative things. So I'm going to bring on Tom right now. All right. Hey, Tom. Oh, we lost your audio.
There he is. Can I talk to us? No. Oh, can't hear him.
Lose your audio?
Is there a button for on and off on your audio?
Can you hear me now?
There it is. There it is.
Oh. Magic of TV. Sorry about that. Don't know what happened.
Don't move.
Maybe it's the USB button here, the USB little. But yeah, thanks for the amazing introduction. I appreciate it, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure working with both of you too. And I've been in both of your pockets, for the last 6-9 months, maybe even a year. So, yeah.
It's been a pleasure, man. It's been a pleasure to see some of the stuff that you are really moving on, man. I just it takes a lot. This isn't stuff that I've never heard of. Some of the things that you're doing, that we've talked about. I'm like, wow, this guy's really putting in some thought into a lot of the going forward with. So let's hear about it, man. Talk to us. Tell us some good stuff.
Oh, what are you
working
with?
On
okay,
currently?
Well, yeah, a lot of things. I really got motivated when I met Blake, a couple years ago, and started thinking, well, what can I do at my level, And met with Brent McWilliams and friends with Bill Lechner and talking about some things. And I really wanted to bring UHG-AAMN together. And so I started, back in January last year, looking at trying to get us as the first corporate sponsor for AAMN. Over the 6 months or so of negotiating back and forth, we got it. We were approved. And as of, I think it was August 1st last year, we became a chapter with you guys. Since then, the chapter has done phenomenal work. I've been presenting at, the chapter conference, at the national conference. This year coming up, it's going to be, I'm presenting again in collaboration with Jason Mott. We got Vernon Langford, another gentleman who I work with, who's extremely knowledgeable about men's health. And he's going to be presenting this year. And he lives in Orlando, and I guess he's going to be helping out Jason and you guys down there in conference planning and all this stuff.
Exactly.
But that's only a tip of the iceberg, gentlemen, as you know, of things that I've been doing and whatnot. Since we started the chapter, our numbers have gone up 70%. So we're 70% larger in just over 8 months, 9 months. We're doing quarterly presentations. We're looking to do a fall CE Saturday where we're just going to present to everybody free of charge, just to get the name out, just to get people involved in men's health. And for those who are members, they'll get the CEs, but we're going to open to anybody. If you're just a male or a woman who wants to learn about men's health, so be it. That's what we're going to be doing. But there's some other things that we're going to be doing that you might not even know about.
It changes every day with you. You're always sending me something new, so it's probably something I don't know.
Well, we are going down. I got about 6 men confirmed to go down to the conference, and we're actually going down a day early, and we are going to go to 2 schools, and we are going to do the Future RN program there. On our own time, on our own dime, and everything. Since we live across the country, we don't get to meet face to face. We talk through emails, instant messages, WebExes, GoToMeetings, all that stuff. So we're thinking that this would be a great thing that we can do to do that. And at the same time, what we're going to do is, a few years ago, I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Maggie Thurman Dorsey. And what we're going to be doing is dropping off these 2 books at every single school. Here's a little close-up. My Hero, My Dad, the Nurse. Okay. Great for little children to, start reading about nursing and men.
I have a copy. I read it to my daughter all the time. And that one too.
Yeah.
Because I played football. Yeah.
Yep. My Hero, My Dad, Nurse, football player. Yep. So these are things that we're going to do. We're going to be making this part of the Future Iron program for us when we go down there. And so when we talk to people, we're going to be leaving these here. And actually, the newer versions, it's kind of cool. They actually have a CD in there now. So for those people who can't read, or maybe they're blind or whatever, they could still listen to the book.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I thought that was interesting. And so, if you're going to do the Future Iron program, pick these up. Amazon, or if you need the email address, let me know. I'll get you the email address for Dr. Maggie Thurman. But also what we're all doing is we're going to be starting a mentoring program with United Health Group and AAMN. In particular, we're going to be targeting student chapters. And we're going to be basing it on a couple of other books that we're all trained in, Life Reimagined and Stand Out. And we are going to be utilizing these books, hopefully as mentors, to assist students to help out what kind of leader they are, what kind of person they are, what makes them tick, what makes them go, and to find out what is their most important characteristic. Is it integrity? Is it relationships? You need to know who you are before you can figure out where you want to be and what you want to become. You could say you want to do this, you want to do that, but you have to know who you are first. So that's going to be part of our program, and something they teach us here at United Health Group that we'd like to bring into AAMN, and share this with everybody and say, hey, do you know the 9 different things that you need to know to become, a nurse, or how to become the most powerful you? All these things are in here. It's an amazing book, and it's actually an amazing program. And I'm actually speaking to United Health Group and the Centers of Clinician Advancement for training on this, so that when I'm trained, I'll be able to present this to everyone as well. So this is something that I'm looking to do for all of you and for all the chapters. What are some of the other things? What else would I like to bring to the team?
You were touching what I know. Let's go down, because Mike's having technical difficulties.
Yeah.
He wants to apologize, everybody. It happens. No one's more frustrated than him. That he keeps dropping out. So
he just doesn't want to talk to me. I understand it.
Right? Maybe we're just going. We're an hour and a half in. V-Live is getting tired of us. But I wanted to go back, because you mentioned something. Back in Miami. When I kind of first came on the board, and I was younger than I am now. I hadn't turned 30 yet. And, we had a really good talk, of, reflecting, and, you were asking me, where I thought we should go, and, investing in where is the sustainability and growth. And that was before I even thought about, stepping into the role I am now. And we just had a really good talk about what vision are we going towards, what can we all do to do a collective, a collective pulling of the reins in the same direction, and really find the 21st century purpose of our organization. And, and I appreciate that, those conversations had inspired you. They inspired me as well. And so, coming from that, and starting a chapter at an insurance company, and I want to talk more about just even your role on the awards committee, because we're talking about where have you been in regards to leadership within the organization prior to this candidacy. You and I, as well as the awards committee, we looked at the current structure. We thought it was a good foundational structure, and we wanted to improve on it anymore. So you want to talk about some of the awards that we brought back, and some of the new ones that we had discussed, and some of the ideas that you have that may be instilled into our awards program if you become on the board?
Well, one of the awards that we brought it back was, of course, the emerging leader. There was some confusion last year if it was supposed to be for truly a nurse or if it was supposed to be for somebody as a nursing student. And we really didn't know how to address that. And so one of our decisions back then was for this coming year to break that into two separate areas for an emerging leader, and a young member, etc., so that they could be distinguished, because obviously it's kind of difficult to find somebody who's an emerging leader with coming out of nursing school to somebody who's getting their doctorate and has 15 different publications out there. Mm-hmm. It's like comparing apples and oranges. Even though you're both in the nursing profession, it's really something you can't do. So those are two things that we're looking at doing. And I think we've implemented it. I think it's live. In fact, I think it is live now.
Yep. Actually, and this is my
you're going to go into that, right?
Plug. My pivot plug is that we're the applications are due by the end of the month, everyone. So please, if you know someone that you want to nominate, it's still open, and so please get those in. All of the templates can be found on the website, and Tom and the team has worked really hard to make it a blind review. Wow, it's late, but review about making it as extremely objective as possible, so that you're based off merit and not other things, intangibles. So people who receive these awards meet a certain criteria of exemplar and truly deserve that award. Not just because there was, so many candidates and you're the top candidate, but you meet that criteria to be deserving of that award. And that's why I want to, thank you and the team, because really looking into that, because we had some great rubrics, but still looking at it and always wanting to improve them, always wanting to get better. And that's what you guys did.
Yeah, we had to redo a lot of the rubrics. A lot of them just weren't specific enough. They didn't really match with what we wanted and what leadership there wanted. So we had to take it apart. We had to review it, and that took a lot of time. And everybody worked well together on the committee. But just to further that a little bit farther, when I get an alert or an email of a candidate that we have to review, I actually let my wife print it out and I ask her to cover the names. I don't want to know who's sending it. I truly don't want to be biased in it. And when I do my review, I do my review based on that. So that's me personally. I don't want to know because I don't want to be swayed one way or another. And I want to look at everything based on truly what the merits are and based on the rubrics. So that's what I'd like to do for that. And
yeah, I mean, and that's the way it should be, right? Mm-hmm. That's the way it should be. And, so we talked about, kind of your passions of what you want to do. It sounds like you're in line with what Stephanie was talking about in regards. And I think when Mike referenced it, I think he was talking to you a couple weeks ago about, mentorship program and what you just spoke about here just now. And, we talked about that. We talked about your awards committee experience and what you bring there. But also another passion that you have, and we are kind of trending, and I believe I love that we are, in regards to we're really starting to develop, I think, a lane that hopefully in the human trafficking arena, in regards to, as our organization trying to take a stand with those other organizations on human trafficking, and how difficult it is and how big of an epidemic it is in the health system, and trying to train nurses and other clinicians, other healthcare workers, of helping to identify these individuals and help them. And so do you want to expand a little bit, you don't have to go into your presentation, but where do you find your passion in that? And what do you think, we could continue to do and expand on in that pillar of kind of avocation for that group of people.
Well, actually, the interesting part is I actually discovered all this through an audit when I was working for United Health Group, and things were coming up and strange, and just the clinical aspect and doctor shopping and jumping from place to place, the symptoms that this person had, and basically, this was before it was my current role. I was talking to a case manager, and we were basically checking every single morning, every single night. Our system to find has this person checked in at another facility, and we were basically watching for this name to pop up. And we found this person popping up, and the other nurse saw it in the evening shift because I took the morning shift on that. And she made an outreach to that hospital. She made an outreach to security and to the police department, expressing our concerns about everything that's going on. And we did eventually find out that she was a victim of human trafficking, and that actually got us together and got me to present this human trafficking subject last year, and then during that whole process, I was blessed to actually speak with Carrie Fortune-Taylor, who's going to be speaking again this year, and I can't wait to meet her. You got to set me up with meeting her at least.
Absolutely.
And she's a friend of Michael's, I guess. They know each other. They're colleagues. And she's a part of Reclaim 611, which is a phenomenal organization which deals with human trafficking. And so it's just something that's near and dear and passionate to my heart, because, it's a shame, especially when you see it happening in your hometown. Ohio, which is right next to me, I live in Michigan, is one of the biggest areas in the United States. You believe it or not, Ohio is one of the biggest areas for trafficking, because you got huge east-west corridors, and you got I-75 going north-south. It's very, very easy. So I'm looking at that, and definitely.
And I think really like the collaboration. I know you referenced Reclaim 611, and they don't just. I mean, it's not just broad, support and advocacy for and awareness for human trafficking, because also one of our other past interviewees, Paul Brandt, who was a pediatric nurse and now country music star, he also has a foundation that does awareness for human trafficking as well. But more specifically, they really are working on the training aspect of healthcare workers to identify and help and for resources, and go into health systems and train in these programs, which I just think that's where we need to get to. And that collaboration that they're seeking out with our organization, I think is a potential for growth, and it could be one of our many lanes that we take a stance on. I think as men in this profession, it's again not an angle that people may traditionally think about, who would come and stand out against something like that. But I think it's our duty to, as caregivers and professional healthcare workers, that we need to take a stand on this, because it's a huge epidemic and it does impact health of your communities. When all this and it's exponential. It's not just the trafficking itself; it's everything that comes with it.
Right, and the drugs, the alcohol, all that. Yes.
And so it does impact our communities, and we need to take a stand on. So I think that's why I love that you kind of teed it up. You brought it to the forefront last year, and something we hadn't been talking about. And then kind of helping us get to that direction to bring someone that saw the and heard of the conference and us talking about it, and this big organization now wants to come in and help talk about their training and what we can do collaborative with them to reach out to other health systems to train their employees and their faculty. I think, I mean, it's not just ERs. It could be anywhere, grocery stores. I mean, just preparing yourself and training yourself. You can spot people as a healthcare work as nurses, and that's who we are. We're advocates for the community, and that's what we need to be training ourselves to do, not just in the hospital.
But we're also very well aligned with the other organizations too. Seriously, if you really think about it, I think it was brought up earlier. We're defining ourselves right now in modern day, with human trafficking or whatever it could be. But we are very well aligned right now. We got Eric Williams, Dr. Eric Williams. Okay, he's the president of the National Black Nurses Association. Okay, we got Dr. Ernest. Grant.
Ernest Grant. Yep.
Yeah, with the ANA. I mean,
all members of AAMN. or AAMN.
They're all members of AAMN. So we already have that. We have a little thing. We got to start exploiting this. And that's something I'd like to bring to my table in this position on the board, is to start, I don't want to say exploiting, but utilizing them.
Yeah,
getting
leveraging
out there
Yeah.
to leverage it. Yes, let's bring out there. Let's bring in, some sort of, be it a mentorship program, be it, the whole human trafficking thing. Maybe it could be even something totally different. So maybe it could be, a CE collaboration where we have one group where we all work our CEs through together so that we can get our chapters CEs, all this stuff. There's a lot of things that I think that we could do also. We have all these individual chapters. We need to start working together as one and not trying to see what one can do with that the other one can't do. We are a company of 100,000 people and over 10,000 nurses across the country and across the world. And I'd love to bring them all on. And I would love to do something together. And, we're growing. I mean, 70% in under 9 months, that's a heck of a lot of people. And I think what I'd like to see is a common calendar. That's one thing I'd like to see on our website, on AAMN, is a common calendar where every single chapter, every single meeting could be put up there, speaker, anything. And if you want to join, you can have a contact to say, hey, we'd like to join, or we want to come, or hey, can I come see this? Is it going to be on a webcast? Are you going to do it through a Facebook, podcast or whatever? I think that would be great, something to do. And we also get to know each other on a more personal level too, rather than just by emails and once a year at a conference. I also think it'd be great if Ian Salidar is out there. Hello, Ian. I want you.
I don't know if he's on right now, but he will be listening to this, I tell you.
Oh yeah, Ian, future RN. I want to work with you and you guys. Let's go down to Orlando. Let's knock some schools out, okay? Let's get our guys together, your guys together, and anybody else out there. I challenge you. Give me 3 guys. Let's go to a school. Let's do this. Let's spread the word about men in nursing.
I mean, and we're about ready to wrap just the capturing of how many students, because we're at the end of the spring semester. But at the same time, I mean, the amount of people, like Dr. Foley's group hit 100 students in one shot. I mean, I couldn't even tell you what New York City is doing. I mean, they're approaching at hundreds because they've gone to so many schools. And everybody's doing it everywhere, and so I'm really excited to see what Glenn and Steven, when they're done compiling all that data, and so that we can show that at the conference of what we actually measured outcome of what we did. That's what I think inspires people, and I think if we can put it in numbers and show the growth, like you talked about 70% growth, national is up 40% from last year right now. I mean, that is ridiculous in numbers that we're shooting up that quickly in membership, so that we've got something. So we got to make sure we continue to reflect on what that something is and what that value is. And I know you and I've had long talks about that, and me springboarding things off of people left and right. You're a sounding board for me many times where you're like that does not sound right. You should probably not.
We've had honest conversations with each other. You're right.
Yeah. So wrapping up here, we've talked about your past. We talked about, your involvement in the awards committee. We talked about your vision and all those things, and you've been a member for 10 years, kind of, sum up, where you've seen this organization, where we've been, all the great things historically, and how that's going to take, and what you see for the just overall vision and future for AAMN, because you, I think, out of all of us that are running for the board, have the most knowledge of historical context in this group of candidates. I mean, I think that could be very important to have on the board in respect. I mean, just generalized vision. Where do you see us going? How do you see us fitting? And what do you think we can accomplish in the next 4 years?
I think that what you're doing, especially over the last year with these webcasts, with what you've done at the last conference, all the technological work you're doing is phenomenal. The way we're trying to keep in contact with people is phenomenal. I think that's the big thing. We have to maintain a strong relationship with each other, not just national and a local chapter like us, but chapter to chapter. I got a chapter down the street from me, Washtenaw Community College, my old college, my alma mater. And to make a long story short, I want to reach out to them and say, hey, how can we help? How can United Health Group help? I told you today, that, hey, United Health Group wants to post jobs with you guys. And, on the national website. These are things that we can do that will hopefully draw people to our site, draw people to us. But I really think that bringing in new blood truly was good. I think that there was a disconnect between technology and the way things used to be, the way things are. We moved from an assembly to an association. And I think that we are maturing, we are growing at a controlled rate, which I think is good, because if you grow too fast, too quickly, I think there could be some issues with that as well.
Yep.
And I think that what you're doing is good. I don't really have any negatives going on here. Believe me, if there were, I would tell you.
Yeah, you'd be the first one to tell me. So he's not buttering me up right now.
No.
I'm buttering you up.
You and I have had some straight talks, out the door, and, things have been addressed, things have been looked at, and you've heard them from other people too. So I think that's, being addressed. And I think what's happening here is a good step down a long winding path with a bright light at the end of the tunnel, honestly. And I look forward to working with you and hopefully everyone else. I look forward to hopefully being a part of the board. I am very, very energetic. I do have a lot of ideas in my mind that I think that, we could do. And as another surprise to you, I'm going to be supplying you personally with 2,500 business cards with the AAMN logo. And it's going to have our website on there. It's going to have a QR thing on it. And you're going to give, if we got 500 people, hey, you can give, 25 to each member. It's good to have that card in there. Say, hey, check out this website when you see a fellow nurse, a male nurse, female nurse, whoever might be interested, and said, hey, check out AAMN. They're not going to remember that. But you give them a business card, they throw it in their pocket. They might pull that out of their pocket 2 days, 3 days later. But they'll pull it out, and maybe they'll have time. They could look it on their phone, scan it, whatever. But these are things that I'm going to get for you, And I'm also working with Men's Health Network,
too. Take care of me with the little things because, when I was president-elect and Brent was president, I got to, you get to think about the little things before the ship. Leading the ship, he always told me. And he goes, now you're the skipper. And I found like the little things like, I know I need business cards, but you reaching out to me and saying, hey, I got you covered on the business cards. I appreciate that because that helps me kind of stay at the 30,000 foot view, and you're always thinking about the details and you need that as a team. One person can't run the
I'm your little buddy.
The entire thing. I know.
Okay, Skipper, I'm your little buddy.
I know. I was the greenhorn, and I could jump to the skipper. So again, I thank you for coming on and spending time and being last, and sticking around. Again, if you could look through, and I'm sure there's questions. I'm kind of pulling double duty here, and answer any questions that people may have had. I would greatly appreciate it. Mike would greatly appreciate it. We hope that, we're going to be so successful because I know that everybody's going to be involved. All these candidates are going to be involved no matter what. And I wish our board was 20 spots because this year our candidate pool is just absolutely amazing. And so, regardless, there's going to be 3 at-larges and 1 secretary. But you know what? We know, Mike and I know from talking with all you guys are here to support us. You're here to support the members. And this is just so cool. Like, I cannot thank you and the other candidates enough for your dedication to this organization.
And that might be something you guys need to look at too, is maybe with everything that's going on in your growth of your organization, maybe you need to expand that board, the board of members to 5 or 6. I think that according to the bylaws, that would have to be taken by I think that's a general membership vote.
Yeah, we would have to do that at bylaws at the general business meeting. Yeah, you're right.
That's something you could look at that now. And
that has actually been brought up by a few individuals. And I think, as we grow, I think it's definitely something, as we have different areas of interest, we need those facilitators and re-looking at that structure. We restructured our membership or chapter structure. And, we always need to be continuing and reevaluating, doing 360 assessments, because if you're not doing those things and you're not reflecting, you can't move forward. because you aren't seeing what's successful and you aren't seeing what's not so successful and the opportunities for growth. So again, thank you. Thank you to Dr. Stephanie Gedzyk-Nieman. I know I see her in the green room. So I was like, did I get it? I'm going to get that.
Gedzyk-Nieman.
Yeah, Nieman. Look at that. You're better than me. And so we'll continue and continue. We'll come here tomorrow for 2 more individuals. We'll wrap it up. We'll have interviewed everyone at that point. So it's so cool that everybody's been on podcasts, so that everybody can put a face to a name and voice, and then make an educated decision. That's what this is about, and we just want to provide those opportunities. So again, thank you, Dr. Stephanie in the green room. Thank you, Dr. Willis, for who was on here earlier, and everyone have a great night. See you here 7 p.m. Central Time, and we will go for an hour tomorrow. So thank you, Tom. We'll talk to you guys later.